back at Celebrity Catwalk with, she's not company, she's a family friend to the show, incredible supporter. She is an incredible animal advocate, a domestic violence advocate. She's a wonderful friend, a wonderful cook. I have to be back over to have some more delicious vittles. And a wonderful actress, a personality, and just an incredible person. This is the incredible Chrissy Monroe. She is blonde and fabulous and back.
I just went back to blonde. Thank you for having me, Jennifer. You know you're the best.
You know we need to have you here weekly. So I'm thrilled to have you here. We have so much catching up to do. I want to hear about your summer and all the goodies that you've got going on.
Wow, where do I start? Exactly. I don't even know where to begin.
Exactly.
Well, maybe one of the most recent things a lot of people have seen was Dr. Phil. I just did the Dr. Phil show out in Los Angeles.
Yes.
Which was pretty surreal because, you know, I've always been a big fan of Oprah, Dr. Phil. Who would have ever thought I'd be sitting this close, actually closer than you and I, to Dr. Phil.
Wow.
So that was interesting. And a lot of people did see it. It's aired worldwide. I still have people in Australia, China, messaging me that they just saw it. And the topic of the show was cyberstalking.
And we really need to get into that because for those, many of you know Chrissy Monroe from reality television, and I definitely want you to discuss because I think everyone thinks television, fame, fortune, glamour, and I don't think people realize the dark side. I don't know if we've ever really delved into that, but I'd love for you to talk about kind of the other side, if you will, of yes, you were incredible on television and we can turn on our TV and see you to this day, but there's another side of that isn't really that pretty.
Yeah, and I did discuss that on Dr. Phil. Basically, in a nutshell, once I got onto VH1's Love and Hip Hop, a lot of people know me from being a main cast member on season 5. I dated a producer, a 3-time Grammy winner named Chink Santana. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. I didn't go back for another season. I couldn't deal with him another season, but that's neither here nor there. Well, at the beginning of the show, I was hosting charity events and stuff throughout Manhattan, and a young lady had came to one and introduced herself and said she would be a great fit for the show, and she loved me, and she'd be great, and this and that, and this and that. I said, well, can I help her get on the show? I said, I'm not in casting. I just got on the show. I can't help you. I thought she was a little off, but, I was busy. She basically talked my assistant and I out the door. She showed up at 2 other events that I was hosting, and it wasn't coincidental because I had pre-promoted, of course. I'm going to put out the flyers and the advertisements for people to sell tickets, things like that. So I found it kind of odd that she had showed up. The third time that she had showed up, I kind of ignored her because she was acting very loud, obnoxious. And then after that, she just went on a full cyber-stalking campaign and has not stopped. This is going into the 4th year. She's been arrested. The state of New York, the District Attorney's Office of Westchester County is prosecuting her. But, it has been so frustrating, Jennifer, because just dealing with getting help, but this is a fairly new phenomenon. The police department hasn't even really begun sensitivity training. And when I'm walking into a precinct and it's a bunch of 60-year-old men and they're telling me, just block her, forget about it. They don't even understand. I've blocked her. Right. They don't even know what Instagram is. Right. Oh, I have a Facebook page. I barely mess with it. They don't even understand what social media is, let alone try to help me. And I was told, call us if she's out front of your house. I said, wow, it has to come to that? Like, can't somebody help me? I've contacted the FBI. I've contacted every law agency, every organization, just to no avail. Finally, I finally went in there. I had to, think. I printed out every single message, because sometimes she'll contact up to 40 people per day through social media. Say you're on my Instagram and you like a photo, or you leave a comment. She'll message you 20 paragraphs. She says that I blood sacrificed my relatives. It's not funny. It's really crazy that she slays dragons. She's clearly mentally disturbed. But she disrupts my life. She follows everything that I do. She calls businesses that I'm affiliated with. And I don't know her. She's a fan. She's a stranger. So it's bizarre to me because I've sat and really tried to understand who is this woman and why me? We've never dated the same man. I don't owe you any money. Like, who are you? That's what makes it so scary, because it is a stranger. And she's doing it from fake pages and constantly, just from morning to night. She makes 2-hour-long videos having meltdowns, crying, and just talking about me. It's scary. And I have to watch my back everywhere I go to this day. But I shouldn't have to feel like I have to disrupt my money in my life because she chooses to stalk me. So that was what was on Dr. Phil,
Right.
which he really wasn't much help. A lot of my friends that watched it were super disappointed in how he handled it.
Yes.
It was kind of victim blaming because I've barely spoken about it. I've had to post her photo from time to time to warn people ahead of time that this woman will be contacting you if you have anything to do with me. Try to defend myself, and he kind of made it seem like I'm retaliating. No, I just want to be left alone. Right. So, you know, I don't know how to be stalked. How do you be stalked? How are you supposed to be stalked properly? There's, like, can you answer that? He couldn't answer that either. But hopefully, you know, they're going to order a psychiatric evaluation for her, hopefully, and maybe she can get on some kind of medication. I think she's obsessive compulsive. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. But I just want to be left alone. No one should have to go through what I've endured. It's really not fun. It's not fun. When you do expose yourself to the public, I knew what I signed up for being on reality TV. They warned me. We had media training at Viacom. But I never thought it would happen to me. They said, you may get death threats, you may get stalkers. I was like, yeah, right. Nobody's worried about me. And look, it happened.
Wow.
So,
And how do you feel about the resources out there? How do you?
Horrible. There aren't any.
So we haven't caught up yet in the cyber world to the whole cyberbullying, cyber stalking. We're not where we need to be with that. So you have had to do all the action that has been taken. You have had to spearhead yourself.
Yeah. Like basically begging and pleading for help to get her prosecuted. It took me 3 years for them to finally arrest her. They went to her apartment in Brooklyn, the sheriffs. I have an order of protection. They took her to Yonkers, where I live. She spent the night in jail. She got out, and then she's claiming that the police kidnapped her, and she's suing the NYPD. It's just insane. It's just a total nutcase. But it's something that I have to live with.
Right.
There are no resources, Jennifer. There's nothing. There are some cyberbullying organizations, but they're more geared towards children. Well, what about adults?
Right.
You know, I have a thick skin. Everybody knows I'm kind of that tough chick from Love and Hip Hop and all that. But everybody, like, it will wear anybody out every day.
And who wants to devote their time to this? You have a million other projects, literally, that we're going to touch on.
Yeah.
We have a million other things going on that you can't take time.
I'm busy. That's what I told the district attorney. I said, no disrespect, sir. I said, but I don't have time to be stalked. Like, I'm busy. It takes time out of my day to go fill out affidavits and paperwork and, you know, make calls and it's time consuming. Go to the precinct and print out papers and highlight the threats. But that's the only way I got anywhere, was actually just printing. And there was just so much evidence that it was like, wow, this is crazy. Because if I would have just went in and said, hey, look at my phone, this woman's bothering me, or whatever. But when I printed out 3 years worth of sick stuff in a pile like this, they had no choice but to finally help me.
So if anything, if I can share any, I'm not even going to say positive takeaway, but documentation. If anything can be gleaned from this horrible experience, I guess you would definitely say the fact that you've saved everything, the fact that you've, as they say, have kept receipts, and you've kept documentation. That has, would you say that has helped, or that was really the only thing?
That was the only thing, Jennifer. If I wouldn't have saved all that, I wouldn't have had a leg to stand on. But so my suggestion to anyone else, because me coming public, like with Dr. Phil and everything, so many people have reached out because they're in similar situations. They're being cyber stalked, cyber bullied, harassed via the internet, and they feel just as helpless as I do. And I really don't know what to tell them, but save the receipts, screenshot everything, print it out. Any text messages, any phone calls. There's an app called Trap Call that it's $10 a month that you can. I'm not promoting them. I don't work with them, but they've really helped me tremendously. If somebody blocks their number, you hit the decline button and it calls that number back, sometimes with their name and address. So you can't even call me blocked. I know who you are. So yeah, but it's sad that I have to live like that.
Yes. Yes,
But
it's
so-
very disruptive. If you have a family, when you have other things, just your privacy.
My pets.
Your pets.
Like,
Yeah,
I don't want my dog to go outside. She might snatch my dog. Like-
Exactly, exactly.
But yeah.
That is not. So maybe this is a good place to segue, because you have been an incredible mentor and a resource, and I know you field a tremendous amount of domestic violence inquiries and pleas and where do I go and what do I do? Have we come any further with helping domestic violence? I hate to go from bad to worse,
No,
but has
well,
that gotten any
let me
better?
get the audience a little familiar. I'm also a domestic violence survivor.
Yes.
When I left my relationship on Love and Hip Hop New York, I dated a man that was 13 years younger than me. He almost killed me. I have permanent hearing damage in my left ear. My front tooth is fake from him punching me in my mouth and breaking my tooth. And several other things, several other trips to the emergency room. It was the worst time of my life, the worst, most down period, but I survived. I have a 5-year order of protection against him. He's out walking the street. He's already been back to prison 2 times that I know of for beating up 2 other women. So this man is just a serial woman beater. There's nothing that I did to deserve it, and I'm sure nothing these other women did as well. He's just an angry man. But that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah, we'll have to have you back to delve into that.
Yeah, as far as me, I decided to come forward with my story because of the platform that I had from being on television. I believe that was it was a blessing, being on such a big platform, that I could help a lot of people by coming forward and just being me and being real and relatable to so many women. I say women, men, domestic violence happens to men too, but I'm a woman, so I relate more with women because of my story. So many women could relate with, especially women with children, suffering from domestic violence. So I started Survive to Thrive Global in 2016. It's a 501c3 nonprofit, or 3C. I get it always mixed up.
You're right.
C3, 3C, C3PO, I don't know. Okay. R2D2, anyway. Silly. With the goal of using my platform and becoming a voice for the voiceless. I'm not a rescue organization. I'm not going to come to your house and pull you out. I'm here for people that are already out or on their way out, that are really serious about getting out, staying out, and want to get their life back in order. So I parlayed my business contacts and connections through my platform, where I will give them advertisement through my social media, and then they'll donate their services to women and children and men in need: tooth repair, credit repair, scar removal. Now we're working on a housing program up in Bridgeport, Connecticut. We just had a meeting with Key Bank, so they're getting involved with Survive to Thrive Global. I'm looking at things on a larger scale. We are doing a fashion show this upcoming Fashion Week. We did a big fundraiser last summer. It was a big success. But, I want to get those big grants, those big donations, where we can really get women and their kids back on their feet, back into job training, their own home, where they don't have to go back to their abuser because of financial reasons, where, women and children become independent. So a lot of reasons, because people become homeless, they have nowhere to go after domestic violence. And there's a lot of big victim blaming, and it happened to me with, oh, why don't you just leave?
Please, yes. I'd like to first know, when was enough for you? What was the breaking point? And please, I would like to discuss victim blaming, because we're at a point now, as you know, where it's very timely, and it might take 10 years for someone to come out and discuss what has happened. Please share with us, when had you had enough, and when were you able to leave, and how do you think this victim blaming, or what are your takes on that?
Okay, so I was ready to leave when he first put his hands on me, because I wasn't, my father's a good man. Like, I wasn't raised like that. I know better. Okay. But unfortunately, this man was paroled to my home. I knew I was dating a felon, but he was fine. He was sexy. This guy could have been a model. Everywhere we went, women looked at him. And yeah, I made a poor choice. We all do, from time to time. He had already been moved to my home and paroled when he started abusing me. He didn't just start as soon, hey, I'm a woman beater, nice to meet you. No, it was a gradual progression. First, it was the emotional abuse, the ignoring me and making me feel unattractive, and then it was the verbal, and then it got physical. And I told him, this isn't working out, you're gonna have to leave. And then it was, oh, now you're playing with my freedom. If you call my parole officer or call the police, I'm gonna kill you. And after he was hitting me, I believed him. And then he would have his female friends who had nothing to lose calling me, oh, if you get my cousin locked up, if you get my friend locked up, we're gonna be outside of your house, we're gonna cut your face, we know your address. They would tell me my home address. And I was already so mentally beaten down, like, it was crazy. It was the worst time of my life. So it's like he enjoyed the intimidation. He enjoyed seeing someone as successful as me to try to take me down because he's never accomplished anything in life but jail time. Looking back now, I see it all. But when I was in it, it was just like, or am I really fat? Am I really old? Everything he says to me every day, is it really true? You know what I'm saying? Wow, like, because he would tell me these things every day. And I don't care how mentally strong you are, if you hear it every day, it's going to wear you out.
Yes.
So I had the girlfriend that, we were at lunch, do you like being beat? Why don't you just leave? I felt sick to my stomach because I couldn't get this piece of crap out of my house. Like, he wasn't leaving. He told me he had nowhere else to go and that it was my idea for him to move in, so deal with it. Sick. Basically, it got to be where he was living in my living room and just taking my car when he felt like it. He was just taking over my whole life. He basically wanted my life. He robbed me for a 12-carat diamond tennis bracelet, a ring, just helped himself to my life, basically. That was, really just disgusting. For everything that I've worked so hard for and came so far for him to just try to take over, I wasn't having it. Through the grace of God, he went out and committed a crime and ended up in prison, and I got all his stuff out. I got the locks changed. So to answer your second question about the just victim blaming and the not leaving, imagine if I would have been with him since I was 16 and we have 4 children together. I never finished high school. I have no bank account. My family and friends have already left me alone because they're tired of the drama. Where am I going with my children? And we call the shelter and they say, well, we don't have a bed till next week, or you can only stay for 3 weeks, or it's dirty. There's very limited resources. Where are you going? And what happens when you can only stay for 3 weeks? Where are you going after that? There are some programs, but like I said, the funding is limited, the resources are limited. You're lucky if you can get into it. I do know some women that have successfully gone through some programs, but they only have 1 child. There's a lot of different factors. It's kind of like who you know.
Wow,
yeah.
so it's even politics in getting out. Politics come into play in a domestic violence situation.
Yeah, it can. So unfortunately, a lot of people have not $1. Where are they going? They're going to stay with their abuser because, he's got the house in his name. He's controlling the finances. You're going to go back and take the crap because where else are you going to go? I mean, this is really how it is. Or a lot of women become homeless and they end up living on the streets with their children because they have nowhere to go because of domestic violence. You know what I'm saying? And I've seen a lot of women that I've met that were so accomplished and successful and just strong women get wiped out completely by domestic violence because they fell in love with the wrong man and they lost everything. They lost their whole sense of identity. That's what I want to do with Survive to Thrive Global, is really get in there and talk to them and realize, you know what, you can start your life back over. I call it Survive to Thrive because I'm a survivor and my life is actually 10 times better than it was before domestic violence because I appreciate it so much more now because it was almost taken away.
Yes.
So, to the audience watching, if you know somebody going through a domestic violence, don't say, why don't you just leave, unless you have somewhere for them to leave to. Because that's the dumbest crap I've ever heard.
Right. It's always, I think, easy to be, if you haven't, as trite and as old as it is, if you haven't walked in the person's shoes, it's very easy to judge and to say, just leave. But like you said, you've been with someone for more years with them than you've been without them, and you have children.
And you love this person. Let's not discredit that. It wasn't all bad. This guy was cool. You know what I'm saying? I didn't just move him in because he was just some crazy dude. No, he was cool. These guys are master manipulators. They're deceivers. They're narcissists. You know, anybody can really fall prey. And I'm such a loving person. You know, I love the animals and everything. I felt like I could fix him. Oh, he came from a broken home. Let me help him. Oh, poor thing. But he's going to change. Oh, he just needs to learn this and that. These people don't change. And you can't love them out of being abusive. You can't. That's something they have to want for themselves. There are people that I've met grown men that have come out of prison that have reached out to me and told me I was that guy. Not anymore. I did time for, you know, beating up my ex or whatever like that, but that's so not me. I'd love to speak at one of your events from the other side. Yeah, I mean, I believe people can change, but they have to want it. You can't make a man change. You know that.
I know there are many women who think I'll fix him, I will change him, they like the bad boy, I'm going to do that, and your response to that is absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And a leopard doesn't change his spots, not to sound cliche.
Right.
But they really don't. They have to really want it. You know, I've seen alcoholics get clean. I've seen people get off of heroin. People can stop abusing, but they have to want it. It's the same thing. They have to do it. Nobody can do it for them. So, and why waste, you're going to waste 20 years of your young life waiting for a man to change when there's a whole world of good men out here that you could be out here dating? So also I wanted to bring up, when women just leave is normally when you see them on the news dead because their abuser told them, if you ever leave me, I'm going to kill you. And they were true to their word. They usually, you know, track them down with the kids. And you see they kill the kids, they kill the wife, and then they kill themselves. This is after they just left.
Yes.
It's scary.
Yes, you have to have a full plan in place.
And so imagine trying to make a plan when you're so mentally beat down and so traumatized every day, trying to even get the muster up the strength to leave safely, then trying to execute it and really stay far away. And you're constantly paranoid and you're afraid. I know that Social Security does allow you to change your Social Security number in your name. So if you are a domestic violence victim survivor. So you can go to Social Security with your police report or
that's very good information.
So you saw that movie with Jennifer Lopez, you know, she went out of the state, she cut her hair and all that. Yeah, so I mean, you can leave, but you gotta really, when you're ready to leave, you gotta leave and don't go back. That's it. And that's the first question I ask when women reach out to me. Are you still in this situation? Are you ready to stay out and not go back? If they tell me, well, I don't know, I love them, you're not ready. I'm sorry, I'm not being cold and callous, but I'm here for people that are serious, that really need the help. Because if I'm helping you and you're flip-flopping, that's time I could have been helping, you know, time wasted that I could have been helping that somebody that really needs it, that's really serious about getting out and staying out.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. That is our time. We are going to be back with part 2 of Chrissy. So don't move. We'll be right back with part 2 of our interview with Chrissy Monroe.